Hello there, Gemini, and welcome to your monthly reading. This is for the month of July, and I'm really happy to see everybody this month because one thing that I've been sensing across all signs is that there's a chance to make some breakthroughs and to also kind of let go of things that you don't need anymore. So as we take a look at all of the information that comes through this month, I'm going to keep an eye out for that to see how it relates to your sign. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that you can use this for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign. And you can also take a look at this for someone that you love in your life. If you don't happen to know all of that information, stick with the sign that you were born under, and you'll get more than enough information by just doing that. To all of my continuing viewers and return viewers, I just want to say thank you so much for showing up. It means a lot not only that you are supporting this channel, but more importantly that you're working on yourselves, so thank you again. If you're brand new, a nice warm welcome. Let me tell you a little bit about my channel. First of all, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and every month I separate my reading into a few different parts. We'll be getting into the channeled information here in just a second, so stick around for that. After that, I take a look at a Celtic cross for the month, and this allows us to look at both the blessings and the potential blocks that are going to come through. And then I always expand the forecast to look at a few distinct areas that I know people love to explore, including health, wealth, love, and destiny. Now, if you like what you see here, I encourage you to stick around until the end of the video. Not only will I kind of go into a nice review that will only take 1 or 2 minutes, so everything that we talk about, I'll give a summary, but I also will give some information on how you can support the channel. I'll put a little bit of information here. It includes everything from liking and subscribing to giving a contribution or booking an appointment if that's something that you're interested in. I'll get into, like I said, much greater detail at the end, but I know that you want to get into the forecast right now, so let's focus on your channeled information for this month. As I was meditating over the cards and really tuning into the energy of your sign, what I saw in my mind's eye was it looked like musicians kind of in a jam session. I felt this energy of fluidity flowing through that vision. I also heard the harmony. I felt this sense of being in sync with something that was important to you. And there was something else that came through, which was you need to create space and time for this sort of a thing to happen, for channeling, for creativity, for fun. And I think this is the big piece of the message this month, because I feel that many of you, from a scheduling perspective, may be sort of stretched way too thin. This could be because you have a lot of family obligations, or you're just you're kind of a very motivated person, or you're doing a lot of service. And I think all of those things are wonderful components of your life. But just as important is allowing for time to relax, to receive, to integrate all of the beautiful blessings and messages that you've been receiving and creating in your life. Otherwise, you just kind of go through life without fully being present. So what I wrote down in automatic writing, first and foremost, is to make time and space. And then I said this would be for your passion and also for your creative flow. It's not just enough to occasionally dip your feet in and have fun with something. I really want you to make this a new habit over the course of this month. So maybe at least once a week, we're talking 4 or 5 times over the course of the next month. I want you to create some time for you to sit down and just relax. Don't try to orchestrate it. It's like meditation. If you try to meditate too hard, you're actually missing the point of meditation, which is to release. So do something in your life that brings you joy. I would prefer it to be something artistic or creative or relaxing, so that as you're doing it, you can kind of separate from the practical, from the pressure, from trying to make something happen. And I want this to be more in the area of hobby and fun, so that there's no pressure associated with, I have to do this much of it or I'm not succeeding. As you start to do this month, it's going to open up new ideas. It's going to help you decompress a little bit. And your mind and your body needs that time to, can't always be going. And I think this is something more in Western culture that's happened and more in the later 20th and now 21st century, where technology has sort of distracted us and we don't just kind of have fun. Like back in the day, kids just played. They didn't have phones, they didn't have iPads, they didn't have Apple Watches and all these things tying them down. So unplug a little bit and do something else, and then see what happens during that period. You may have some insight or moment of clarity that happens either during that process or afterwards, and then see how you feel the following day. See if your energy isn't in a better space. For some of you, you may also get inspiration for something big in your life, but until you make the space for it, it can't come through. Let's go ahead now and take a look and see what the cards have to say. I'm going to remain quiet at this point, but afterwards I'll pull up each and every card and relate it to the messages for this month. Your catalyst card this month is the gazelle. It was reversed, but I'd like to pull it upright so you can see this beautiful creature. This is a great indication of your agility, your flexibility, and your ability to also sort of think on the fly and be able to make some sort of a snap judgment. So I like all of those things, but the fact that it was reversed is saying, just take a moment and pause and think things through before pulling the trigger, before pushing send, before purchasing something. Your crowning card was very much in line with what I was saying in the channeled message, which was to slow down. The Four of Swords is all about resting, meditating, and pausing, and a reversed speed card would really indicate the same thing. What's good about this is that whenever you're actually ready to make something happen, you have all of the skills to really facilitate that. So just take a deep breath and think, I'm not in a hurry. I want to make sure that if I'm going to launch something, that I go out with a splash and I make the right decisions and the right impact, because you only get one chance to make that first impression, so make it count. Let's look at all of the other cards, and as necessary, I will refer to what we talked about in either the catalyst or the channeled message. Right at the center, we have the Three of Wands, which is a great central card for any spread. This is showing me that things are starting to materialize in your life. Any of the long-term goals that you've been setting your mind to, if you stay consistent with that, you're going to start to see progress, very likely in this month with the Three of Wands. This is also showing the power of using your ability to visualize things now, and then over the next 2 to 3 months, you might start to see headway on all of those things. So please don't give up. Please continue to focus on what matters. That's where the energy should flow. There can also be a little bit of travel with this card, and there's nothing negative attached with that. So basically a very nice card to start the spread off with. As we're looking at what is tempering or what's crossing that card, we have the Seven of Wands, which can be an exciting card sometimes because it shows that ability to do almost anything, but it can also be a warning. Here we see that you don't want to get defensive. You see a couple of animals here fighting. And this is saying that it might be necessary sometimes to go counter to, I wouldn't call it instinct, I would say that knee-jerk reaction. I'm all about intuition and free will and sort of going with what comes to you, but sometimes we need to edit a little bit so that the audience or the receipt of the message is more appropriate. So what we're seeing here is that something could be taken by another person as being either something where it puts them on the defensive or where you're coming off a little strong. So take a deep breath. If criticism comes your way, if feedback comes your way, just say, thanks for letting me know. And you can evaluate it later. And if you want to talk to them after kind of marinating with that for a bit, you can come back and say, hey, I do have a question about what you said, but I also see where you might have had some concerns. Let's talk it out. We'll figure things out. Be level-headed this month. Don't be defensive. And most importantly, whenever we see the Seven or even the Eight of Wands, sometimes there's a need to just let go of something. So you might have too much on your plate. And if you can delegate this month, that card is absolutely in that space of saying enough is enough, or I need help with this, or even asking your manager or someone in your life for advice. Say, hey, I'm not sure if we can get all of this done. Maybe this for next week, but how about we just focus on this right now? Come forward with a thought, with an idea, and then be open for what they want as well. As we're looking in the deep past here, we have the Two of Wands. For me, normally the Two of Wands indicates being able to visualize and move to something. That's why the Three of Wands happened. But there is a little bit more of a team element to this. You almost see someone passing on the torch or getting inspired by something else. And that's what I was talking about earlier in the channeled information, making time and space to have passion and creative flow. That could be watching old movies, it could be reading a book, it could be going to a museum, it could also just be hanging out with a group of people that are in the same energy. They might be creative, they may be very supportive of you trying things out. That is going to kindle your flame, that's going to ignite the flame, and that's going to help you see your possibilities. So I want you to spend a lot of time this month continuing to cultivate what looks like the beginnings of a good group of people or a good sort of environment that will allow for that to continue. So good work for those of you that have done it. And if not, there is a nudge here saying, if you allow for more kind of conducive environment for this creativity, something great can happen there. You can incubate something beautiful and share that with the world. All right, when we look at recent past here, we have the Five of Swords and it's reversed. A couple of things to think about with the Five of Swords. Sometimes this is an indication that you're questioning, have I made the right decisions? Is this worth my time and energy? And there can also be a realization that when it comes to conflict in your life, that it may not be a win or lose situation, that it's more of a draw, and that it might be better for you to redirect your energy and your attention into something that is a lot more worthy of all of that energy. So with this, it's an interesting illustration. It's not the usual one that you would see. A lot of times you'll see someone looking back over their shoulders and second guessing. Here we actually see someone realizing, probably not worth it, and they're focusing instead on doing the work. And the card was reversed, which means that it's really important for you not to spend too much time or energy either questioning your decisions, questioning your motivations, understanding that you are in exactly the right place at exactly the right time, and you've made decisions that are good for you. It's much better for you, as we look at the crowning card, to rest, to think, to just to have a chance to meditate. And what's interesting in the environment card here is that we actually have a Queen of Swords card with a guitar. And what's great about this is it's not only about maybe composing, but it's also about once you're able to kind of organize your thoughts, what you say to other people has more of a harmonious ring to it. And that's why we see this sort of master speaking card here come through with the ability to engage. And if you've ever listened to really good public speakers, sometimes they even sound poetic in the pauses that they make, in the sort of inflections in their voice, and even the word choice that they make. So take your time to really think things out. That's why the Gazelle card was reversed. It's important, and that's why this card also is reversed. You need to take time to fine tune. You see him sort of, looks like sharpening or creating some sort of weapon there. As you're sort of forging whatever it is that you want, let it have time to take shape, to be perfected, to cool off, and then when you actually do share it with someone, it's going to be very engaging, and it's going to be you putting your best foot forward. As we look at the near future, also the middle of the month, the main message is to make sure that your work-life balance is in check, as well as your finances. This is not a month to take big risks or to push things too far. And this includes your body. So if you're burning the candle at both ends, or you're really trying to get too much done in a given day, realize that there's only so many days in any given month that you can do that. And this month you want to be really, really careful not to abuse that flexibility that you might have sometimes, because it could create fatigue or sickness, and you don't want that. With money, it looks like you have enough, but this isn't a month to splurge or to spend in advance too much. You want to really play it safe this month. Conservative energy, conservative approach, that's going to help you quite a bit. And again, as we look back at this, it's all about resting, thinking, and evaluating all of those decisions so that you make the best choices moving forward. In the ego, there is a message this month that you might either need to make a decision, or you might have to deal with a decision that may not exactly be something that makes you happy. You're going to be put into a space where you might be called out and asked to make a very quick judgment. And all of the messages that you've been receiving thus far have been about taking your time. So if this is happening in a relationship and someone wants you to make a spot decision, you can say something like, that's not fair. I need some time to think this through. If it's at work, or if it's a question about something that you've done, you could say, that's a great inquiry. Let me take a look at this. I need to do some research. I'm not going to make a decision without doing a little bit of research. If you still get pressed, then you can say, okay, I'll give you the best information I can right now, but I want to just put it on the record that you didn't give me the time to do the research necessary. Make sure that you voice the concern, because with judgment reversed, there could be something that comes through where you're not ready, you're not prepared, and you have every right to take your time or to push back if that's the case. You don't want to get into an argument, but you also don't want to put yourself in a place where you might be held liable or responsible for something, especially if you're not certain. It's okay to also say, I don't know, or I don't know yet, or let me look into this so that I can give you a solid answer, because right now it would be a guess. These are all really transparent, honest, and just not even defensive answers. It's just sort of stating a fact and asking for the necessary time. The other thing with judgment reversed is sometimes we don't have a say in things. So there may be, in a place of work, it could be a policy. In a relationship, it could be a breakup. In a family, it could be news that is unsettling. Maybe someone is, deciding to move, and that could just be upsetting you, or there might be a sickness or something else that's going on. You just have to be present, listen, and give yourself time to digest that information. That's really what we saw here, and that's also what I was talking about in the channeled information, about letting everything, not just the fun stuff, not just the creativity and the passion, but also difficult information. It needs time to sort of sit, and you need time to process that. So ultimately, judgment is not a bad card. It usually shows change here. Judgment, justice, and the world are the end of things. So if you've been waiting for a long time for something to finally come out and be decided, or to have something finalized, I see that happening within this month's time, but you might need to get some more information if you have to make the decision, or there may be some parts of it where it didn't turn out exactly like you wanted. The good news, though, is it does look like your voice matters, and you'll have an ability to maybe either shape the final outcome, or you might have a chance to at least voice your concern, and that's the most important thing here. Now, on to the fun stuff as we're looking at possibilities and outcome. In the possibilities card, we have lovers reversed, and in the outcome, we have the Ace of Cups, which for me is a clear indicator that if you're in a relationship, it may be sort of knocking on the door. Your partner might be saying, hey, I miss you. And this could be a time to rekindle that flame, to spend a little bit more time with someone. And it can just be about talking and sharing time. It could also be about physically reconnecting with that person. The important thing, though, is the outcome is good no matter what. If you're single and happy, the Lover's card can be putting the passion into something and creating something that you care about. If it is a relationship, you might get to a place where you guys are both feeling really good again. And if you're looking for love, those two cards are really great indicators that can come through, and they're connected to a strong air sign as well. Now that could just be indicative of who you are. We have the Queen of Swords here, which is definitely a card that I would associate with Gemini, but you may also be calling in an Aquarius or a Libra or a fellow Gemini, and it's good energy from what I can see here. So if that's the case, enjoy it. What I more look at when I'm sort of glancing at potential love in your life is how ready are you and what are you putting out to the universe. So to get ready for the love, which is in the final outcome here, I would say it's important for you to take care of your body, take care of your mind, rest, clean up anything in your life that requires cleaning up. This could be contracts, decisions, also just making a decision in your life that you're ready for something. It could be being ready to be healthier. It could be making room for the relationship. It could be finally just sort of letting go of something, releasing something. There's a decision, there's a need for you to sort of organize yourself first before jumping headfirst in a relationship. But once you do that, it feels like there's a lot of good energy if that's something that you're seeking. So let's expand the forecast now, and we'll take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start with the health card, and this is not just looking at your body. It's looking at where you're at mentally, where your energy is, both your sort of vitality and also your auric energy, and also just kind of how you're either attracting or pushing away things in your life. And we'll be looking at that latter piece in each of health, wealth, love, and destiny, all of those components. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what the message is. So as we take a look at your health message, it has a lot more to do with mental state and the energy that might be weighing on you with decisions, actually, as I look at judgment. We'll get into that in a second. It says, call upon Archangels Michael and Raphael to lift fear-based energy from you, your surroundings, the situation, and everyone else involved. And the title, of course, is Vacuum Away Fear, which I love. But I am tying this one directly to the decision that you might need to make, or sort of, again, worrying about worst case outcomes. Sometimes judgment can be fear of judgment. And if we connect these two together, this is really saying that it's important for you to be able to be authentic, to be honest, to be living in your truth, and don't be afraid of sharing those parts of yourself that might, again, in your own mind, bring about rejection. You have to be yourself. And this card is saying the sooner you're allowed to kind of spread your wings and be that person, the healthier, the happier, and the more fulfilled you're going to be. And there does look like there's a lot of love here and people that are willing to accept you. And if they're not going to accept you, then you know that it's kind of an indication or a litmus test of how deep their love went. So consider yourself blessed to understand where they fall in the hierarchy of your friends, your family, and your loved ones. So trust yourself, love yourself, and let other people see that love. That's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Okay, let's take a look now at wealth and see what's coming through as far as opportunities, self-worth, and of course, net worth. In the area of wealth, we have the word faith, and it says faith in the process, but this is really about trusting yourself. What if you replaced fear with faith? Fear of your own ability to do something, or of people being able to judge you, or whatever it is, with faith that you're on the right track, you have what it takes, you're going to be okay. When you start to have faith in yourself, when you start to believe in yourself, it's this Two of Wands and Three of Wands moment where you start to manifest your vision and other people start to pick up on it. They start to receive all that the great inner energy that you're sending, and then they start to reflect it back. So you have power this month to sort of change the satellite positioning or the message that you're broadcasting from fear to faith. And if you accept that challenge and start to trust yourself, whatever decisions you make, whatever intuition you pick up on, and however you conduct yourself, trust that you are headed in the right direction, then everything around you is going to start to react positively as well. Now, there's a flip side with this. If there are people around you that legitimately do not have faith in you, that are not allowing you to be a part of the decision-making process, then you can't allow that to happen. This is about stepping up, speaking out, and saying no more. So for some of you, that could mean a breakup or giving notice. But we didn't see heavy cards this month like the Ten of Swords, the Tower, or anything like that. I think this is more of a minor correction and just saying, this might have worked before, but it's not going to work now. Or I really have a point of view on this and I want to be heard on it. So you'll find the right way to convey it, but I see some really positive things here, moving again from fear to faith, trusting yourself. And then when you trust yourself, other people will have a very hard time not trusting you. There's something contagious about faith, trust, and confidence, as long as it doesn't go to the point of being overconfident. I don't think that's the case for you. I think it's just about really tuning into that and believing in yourself. And that's an exciting message when we're looking at wealth. One last thing here with faith in the process. If you do not believe in something that you're investing in, this could be an activity, this could be a financial investment, it could be also someone that you hired to help you out. This is something where if you can't trust them, or if you believe that they're not reciprocating the trust in the right way, then it's time to correct or to release that contract or that investment. So with all that being said, why don't we move along now to love and see what's coming through in the area of relationships, also in how you love yourself or how you're kind of attracting or detracting love, as I said earlier. As we look at love, the message is balance. We have Vishnu, the god here, coming through, but the smaller message there is all about balance. And that goes back to what we saw with the Two of Pentacles. Work-life balance, it can also be about reciprocity in the relationship. You may find yourself at either end of that spectrum. Sometimes you might be putting in all of the energy, or you may be in a place where perhaps you're leaning too heavily on the partner. So this month, whenever possible, try to find a little bit more balance. And when we're looking in hopes, fears, and opportunity, that's why the Lovers card is in reverse. There needs to be a little bit more feeling of both sides getting what they need out of the situation. For some of you, there may be this need to kind of vent your feelings or your thoughts. With Judgment reversed, again, it could be a feeling that somebody said something and it came across as they didn't appreciate you, or they judged you without asking, and you may have done the same. The way to fix that this month is through calm, clear, and direct communication. Before you have a big conversation here that we see with Judgment or the Queen of Swords, it might be better to think it all through, to get your words exactly the way you want them to be, and to just get your energy into a neutral space. Don't rush any communication. Don't rush any decisions, including making up, breaking up, or anything of that sort. Time is on your side this time, so take plenty of it before moving forward. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your Destiny card. And Destiny is your chance to look at free will and decide, do I want to go down this path or do I want to adjust my course? This card really is in alignment with the channeled information. Once you've made that space, this is where the activities that create passion or creative flow start to really resonate with you. Some of you may even be inspired to take a class, do some sort of a certification or an apprenticeship, because we see the Sage card here. And the Sage for me can also be a mentorship opportunity. So if you've ever wanted to seek out a mentor and be trained, that might be something great. This could also mean that you're in a position in your life where you've learned a lot and you want to take on a mentee, someone that could learn from you, that you could train, your own apprentice. So ultimately, a lot of the energy this month, once we get out of the balance in relationships and some of the fear turning into faith, and also kind of just finding overall work-life balance, then it's about how else can I give back to myself or to the world? There's this learning exchange, this exchange of knowledge or fun or creativity. For some of you, that could be the Lovers. You might be able to find a fellow artist or a fellow kindred spirit that enjoys something that you like, whether it's movies, music, film, or some other part of life that you just kind of really enjoy. You'll find that partnership, and that could also bring you great joy and great satisfaction. The final note that I get when I look at that is that it's a really good time to get organized. So if, and particularly when it comes to finances, business, or just creating a routine. So in some of the extra time that you're hopefully allowing for yourself this month, don't be afraid to sort of think, what do I want to do? And this could be just putting some ideas, sketching some things out, putting something on paper so that you have a plan. In order for the Two of Wands to turn into the Three of Wands, there has to be a clear vision of what it is you're trying to do. Successful people usually have a habit. They'll get up early in the morning, they do a certain routine, but they also have a clear idea of who they are and what they're trying to do. So if you haven't been asked for a long time, sometimes we don't get this question, and we get it when we're a kid, but we never get it as an adult. But what do you want to do with your life? How do you want to make an indelible impact on this world? What's your thumbprint that you want to leave when you exit this planet? I want you to start to think about, what is my passion and how do I want to improve the world before I leave? And spend some time journaling on that this month if you've never done something like that. That could help you with all decisions in your life, whatever is kind of coming up here as questionable, and also give you faith in yourself and that everything can start to work. Because what I've noticed is when you know what you want, when you're feeling good about that and knowing that it's going to be okay, then things just start to fall into place. And I would love for that to happen for you. Let's go ahead now and review everything that we talked about, and then we'll move along to the closing word. It's important this month to create time and space, not only to do things that you love, but more importantly, just to be present and allow information, intuition to flow through you as well. If you don't make that time and space, it's really hard for you to understand what's going on. And that's what we saw with the crowning card. Rest, sleep, meditation, and just open space in your calendar. It's really essential. Yes, you're very agile, you're very adept, you're very able to do things quickly. This month, there is power and also purpose in slowing down. Again, mirrored by the Four of Swords. So take the break that you need and allow things to come to a point where you understand them. You have to allow the energy to integrate a little bit. When we go straight down the center, there's some great information here. When you meditate, you start to not only visualize, but then also recognize how things have already started to happen in your life. You'll regain faith in what is going on in your process and your ability to manifest. However, there's a potential distraction as we look across the cards to the left and the right, and also what's crossing it. The crossing card is saying there might be too much going on in your life. Feel free to let go of some of that. Don't get engaged in any unnecessary arguments. Find balance wherever you can with your finances, with your relationships, and with the way you're spending your time. Redirect your energy into perfecting or into really spending your time on one task rather than kind of going in all of these different directions. When there's a decision that needs to be made this month, your voice matters. Speak up. If you're not happy with something, ask questions. But know that there is going to be finally some resolution for many of you that have been waiting to hear. If there's a legal case, many of you may receive judgment as well this month. If you're not happy with everything, then this is also an indicator of an indication of what you want to focus on. It might be time to step away because the Four of Swords is a gentle card of letting go, and the Judgment card is a much clearer card of releasing something. So this could be a decision on your part that you're ready to break up or ready to move on. Communication skills are really strong for you this month. So take your time and understand that your words go a long way. That's why I want you to make sure that the tone is exactly the way you want it to be so that the impact is the desired impact. We see again a gentle nudge here when it comes to relationships to make sure that there's equity, that there's reciprocity, that there's balance. Once you do that, there's a lot of happiness that comes through. If you're single and happy, this could simply be about a business partnership or a friendship that's coming in that inspires you. In the expanded forecast, there's a reminder here to move away from fear and instead to go into faith. But when the fear happens, one thing that you want to look at is what was the trigger, and maybe making a decision to walk away from that trigger. With the faith card in your wealth area, this is really saying as long as you have faith in yourself, others will as well. It's that self-worth equaling net worth message that I bring forth often. The other piece of this, though, is that I do want you to listen to your intuition. And as long as you've discounted fear from that equation, if it truly is something where you have an indication that somebody doesn't have faith in you, then this is a time for you to either speak up or move on. Again, with finding overall balance in your life, but particularly in your relationships. It's interesting that we have, this multi-handed and armed God here, and then we also have something here that shows multitasking. I feel like, again, letting go of some things, balancing things out, making sure that each partner is taking their turn is important. You don't have to do everything, nor should your partner. Ultimately, the energy this month is very introspective towards the end with the Sage card. This reminds me of a reimagined Hermit card. So if you want to spend some time learning, exploring, integrating, going deeper into your intuition, it's all there, and it actually mirrors what we see here in the crowning card. So there's some great energy at your disposal this month, and I look forward to seeing how it works out for each of you. So that brings your monthly reading to a close, but if you ever find that you'd like to chat a little bit more about some of the developmental opportunities that I saw here, some of the relationship issues that may be coming forth, or even a big decision that's weighing on your shoulders, feel free to reach out to me. You can click on the first card in the video or the first link below it, and that'll take you to my booking site where you can look at rates and availability. If that makes sense, then I look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, if you would just like to say thank you for the content that I produce here, I mentioned at the beginning to stick around until the end. This is the part that I was talking about. There is a second card and second link in the video here that will allow you to give a contribution. I call that being a patron. And this can be simple. It can be a one-time contribution, something as little as $1 or $2. It can also be an ongoing contribution through something like Patreon. And what this will allow me to do is not only continue to buy cool supplies so that I can refresh all of the cards that I'm using here, but more importantly, it allows me to set time up on my calendar. I see clients and I work a regular job just like you. The less that I get each month, the more that I have to work and the longer it takes me to do the videos. When I get more support from you, then I can actually open up more days on my calendar for video production and you get the videos faster. So if you like longer videos and quicker delivery of them, then consider giving back. And if you've done it before, I just want to say thank you so much. You made this month possible and I appreciate you. If you really don't feel like a financial contribution but want to help out in a different way, you can click on the third card or third link. This will take you to my website where you can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my newsletter. And of course, if you haven't already done so, you can also like and subscribe here. Now, if you enjoyed this and want to share it with others, that actually means even more because it's going to put you in a place where you're kind of like an ambassador and you're sharing this free resource with people that may really benefit from it. I show up each and every month so that I can hopefully, just like this card, ignite the flame within each of us so that we can be teachers, healers, and light workers on the planet. And when you help me share that message, you help with that mission. So thank you in advance. And I'd like to now move along to your closing word for the month of July. One thing that I'm looking at time and again as I'm kind of glancing at this spread here is two different cards. One of them is the Lover's card in reverse. This is showing me that there's a lot of energy around you where you have more love, more appreciation than you may be aware of. It's really interesting to see that this one person's kind of looking away and not receiving it. So for you, I think there's a challenge or an opportunity this month to open up and say, this could be your mantra every morning. It could be that I am open to love and abundance in all forms. This could be in opportunities, like job opportunities. It could be money. It could be friendship. It could be a new romantic relationship or a deepening of a romantic relationship. I just want to start to open up that possibility space for you, which we had talked about earlier. If you can think to yourself, I am deserving of love, of passion, of fun, and of abundance, then it can start to come to you. The other card was just to take it easy, to rest. I don't know when it started to be a bad thing for us to just relax, but I do think it was probably sometime in the last, probably 20 years or so when technology came in and really sort of took over. But there's something to be said for just allowing for peace, for quiet, and for integration to happen. And I think that's something that really wants to come through for your sign this month. So take care of yourselves, love yourselves, and until I see you in about 1 month's time, I'm wishing you love, light, and abundance. Take care of yourselves, okay? Thanks again for spending time with me. You have a lot of choices here, and I'm humbled and honored that you chose to spend it with me.